Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Heischman and I am the lead forecaster here at NWW116. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today as we're going to go through the tropics again. We have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. So, like I said, hope y'all are doing great today. Let's go ahead and dig into this. So you can definitely see some crazy stuff happening on the screen right now. This is actually an infrared view of Hurricane Grace. Hurricane Grace did reach up to Category 3, which is considered major. Category 3 hurricane strength of 125 miles per hour with higher gusts. The minimum central pressure was 962 millibars as of last update. However, we have an update coming out soon. It just now hit 4 o'clock. I do believe that's when they issue the next update. They do it every 3 hours, I believe. The last one was 11 o'clock p.m., so they should have already done it. It should have been 2 o'clock update, but they have not, from what I've seen. They're probably just trying to collect more data or something. Anyways, with that, you can actually see, we'll go ahead and slow down this animation here. You know, you can see these convection bubbles building up, and you can see this rotation really start to kick off just before it hits land. So we have our area right here. We actually can see the eye that's forming here. We have our area of low pressure, and we got more convection bursts coming along the side here. So we got a lot of rapid strengthening with Grace before she impacted the eastern Mexican coast. So we go ahead and speed it up again. You can just see how it really kicks off those high values of infrared, which you can actually see here on the right-hand side as there's a key. You can just see how it really starts to kick up. You got this wrapping motion of convection. This is around your eye. This is trying to form an eye. You can see here it really gets a nice eye right here. And right here you can see this areas of lower infrared. But as we've gone on land, we have started to see that this storm is starting to malfunction. It's starting to break up because it's not getting all that warm inflow from the ocean surface like it should be, being surrounded by all these tropical waters and all these really warm waters. See, very, very high sea surface temperatures, which we'll go over here in a minute too. So that's what we're dealing with Grace. So Grace was a Category 3 on landfall based. I mean, you can't really base it off of infrared, but right now I would just say it's probably a Category 2. I definitely don't think it's 125 mile an hour anymore, as we can probably look. So let's go ahead and look at the National Hurricane Center. They haven't had any updates. Last one was 1 o'clock a.m. On the last update, so we should be getting another update literally any time now. But right now, let's go back one. Right now, we have Hurricane Grace, 125 miles per hour, which that's a very, very strong hurricane. And that's actually only 5 mile an hour away from becoming a Category 4 hurricane. We've definitely had gusts over Category 4 strength. That is a very serious winds we're dealing with here. So a lot of storm surge with the event too. You got those very strong winds, pushing the waves harder and harder and more faster at the coast, which then, builds up more and more storm surge. So definitely a lot of crazy stuff was happening there. As we can see though, the hurricane is now tracking on land. The center is currently over Mexico. The storm is expected to break up fairly quickly as there is a high mountain range, in which we can even see here. This is my AWIPS program. This is what I use to make all the outlooks and stuff. Let's put that over here. And so you can see this is showing terrain. Here in the more brownish area, this is mountains. These are the Rocky Mountains up here. We go down towards where, Grace was located, and we can see how there's, green here. This is showing lower elevation. But as we move more to the west, we can see that we do have higher mountain ranges here. And especially where Grace is tracking over, there is these very high mountains, which is expected to shred apart the storm very, very quickly. But recent models, and due to its strength, I do have a high feeling that this will actually track into the Pacific Ocean and redevelop. Now, it would not be the same name. It would be chosen a different name for obvious reasons because, you don't have two Gs literally in the Pacific because then you can get them mixed around, because they go alphabetical order. So, they just do that to, so that there's no mix-up and that there's, it's not all funky and all over the place. So that's what we're dealing with here. I'll move this over here. So, like I said, we still have hurricane warnings in effect, tropical storm warnings more up north for the areas of eastern Mexico. So, that's what we're dealing with. It is expected to become a Category 1 storm at around 7 o'clock a.m. So, like I said, it's probably a Category 2 right now. As we can see on the infrared, there was a lot of weakening. There was not as much convection bursts, as well as that eye started getting a little bit more disorganized. Versus what we've seen before it tracked onto the western coast, or the eastern coast, sorry. So, 7 a.m., Category 1, probably 80, 85 miles per hour. 7 o'clock p.m. Saturday, it is supposed to be a tropical storm. Tropical storm of around 50-mile-an-hour winds located with that. The central low is going to get very disorganized because of these mountain ranges. So it's going to be very undeveloped, even though you're still going to get some tropical storm force winds. So, enough of Grace. We have a little bit to talk about with another storm here. I'm sure you guys have heard it on the news because it's really taking the headlines right now. We have Tropical Storm Henri. Now, Henri is going to pose a big threat to the northeast. That is a big concern because, the northeast barely gets these storms, really. Because I think the last one, I wanted to say it was Sandy back in 2012, but I could be wrong. But this one is going to take a direct landfall. As of now, these are what models are saying. We are coming more to an agreement. It looks like Long Island is the area in which this storm will track over, which they're not protected for high storm surges. That's the problem. They're not used to this type weather. Usually this type weather, shoots more to the northeast because of your jet stream. It gets caught in the jet stream and it shoots to the northeast. But in this case, we have an area of high pressure right off the coast here. So this is high pressure. And this is starting to keep this, the cyclone in line and push it to the west, which was kind of an issue. Another thing we were seeing is I think I said Henry. I meant to say Henri. It's pronounced differently. But Henri actually shot more west than we thought it would, which only brought it more and more close. Because, before we were saying that there was going to be a landfall here in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, but, that southern track, the southwestern track, really caused it to shoot more to the west, in which we are now seeing a landfall potential for Long Island, especially eastern Long Island. We have hurricane warnings in effect, tropical storm warnings here for the coastal New Jersey as well. We have hurricane warnings still in effect for Massachusetts. We have tropical storm warnings in effect for coastal Rhode Island, and the southern coast of Massachusetts. So that's what we have here. Now, we go ahead and look at models. I'll actually pull those up in a second. First, I want to go over a few more things here. This is your probability of tropical storm force winds. So you can see that there's this shaded area, 90% here in the pink. This will actually get more and more deeper as the storm gets closer. Eventually, Long Island will be in this 90%, as the storm is expected to track over it, in which we're already pushing 80 to 90% chance of tropical storm force winds. So that's what we need to look at. This even shoots as far west as Northern Virginia. Currently where I'm at here in Northern Virginia, I'm actually even under a 5 to 10% chance. However, I do not expect to see anything near tropical storm force winds, as I don't think that is a probability, a very, very high probability at all, actually. Anyways, that's what's going on with this. Now, we can actually look at a hurricane wind field, too. This is growing as well. This is, right now it has max projects. There's actually a very small sliver here of 60 to 70% chance of hurricane force winds being over 75 miles per hour. At 75 or over is what it counts for. Actually, one of an average of 74 miles per hour. But just around in that area, 74, 75 mile an hour, that is considered a Category 1 hurricane. So that would be hurricane force winds. Right now, it's still relatively low, but, this is going to go up. This is going to go up as we get closer. This is just to ensure, to make sure if models don't shift all over the place, in which I don't believe they're going to do that. So, we will see this increase for the Northeast, like coastal Connecticut, especially Long Island, maybe even eastern New Jersey, and the coast of Rhode Island. This is going to increase as the storm does get closer. The bullseye of this storm, as of now, is expected to be around in this portion of Long Island. So mostly central and eastern Long Island is where we're going to see likely the strongest impacts from Hurricane Henri, or Henri, as I call it. So that is what we're dealing with here. So if we go ahead and look at surges, this is experimental. We can see storm surges here as high as 3 to 5 feet. This will probably, it could increase, as the storm gets closer, we get more data on it. But right now they just have it knocked at 3 to 5 feet. So these are current hazards, Cape Cod Bay, 2 to 4 feet. We got, Cape May down here, 1 to 3 feet. Right off the coast of Long Island, 3 to 5 feet. Western Long Island, 2 to 4 feet. In the coast of Rhode Island here is 3 to 5 feet. So it's really ranging right now. Like I said, I'm sure that these are going to change as we go on. So flash flooding potential, mostly east central Long Island seems to be, where a lot of this rain's going to fall, because this storm is expected. You can even just tell by looking at the track. This storm is expected to literally cause a lot of flooding. It's probably going to stall. It's going to slow down as soon as it moves inland, and then it's going to get caught and shoot to the northeast, in which then it will, leave the area, but it'll be over this area for, probably a day or so. It's expected to make landfall on Sunday. It's going to track into the northeast through Monday and then leave Monday evening. So that's what we're dealing with here. We actually have a moderate risk for flash flooding. I do believe this will go to a high risk, due to what I was saying as, this thing's going to stall out, in which, this will probably transition into a high risk. I believe so, anyways, as we go on further. U.S. rainfall potential, this is currently changing. This changes all the time. But here's what we have. Eastern Long Island, 4 to 6 inches, shaded in yellow. Anywhere shaded in yellow here, like Hartford, that is shaded in yellow, so 4 to 6 inches expected. Boston here, we're seeing 1 to 2 inches. So most of our, rain threat is in Massachusetts, western Massachusetts. That is where we're starting to see a lot of our, rainfall potentials, as you can see here in the orange, of 6 to 10 inches possible. That's a lot of rain. That's a lot to deal with, because you get that stalling storm. So it's going to come in hot. It's going to slow down, and then it's going to want to track to the east-northeast, and then which you'll get caught up and then move away from U.S. mainland. So that's what we're dealing with here. We've already went over storm surge. We've already went over probability of. Here's the arrival time of winds. So this is all on the National Hurricane Center's page. I can even leave a link in the description if you guys want to check it out yourself, just so you can be safe and have latest up-to-date information regarding Henri. However, we will be posting on our social media pages. I'll also leave those in the description. Feel free to follow, as we are trying to reach 100 followers on our Twitter, hopefully by the end of next month. That's our goal. We'll see how that goes. So, as we can see, earliest reasonable time of tropical storm force winds, areas it's showing here, this is where our highest probability of tropical storm force winds is. We're probably going to see this around late Saturday, as we move in closer. So landfall is expected on Sunday, but we could start to see some of those bands producing tropical storm force winds as early as late Saturday for the Northeast. So that's going with that. We have our cone here showing, hurricane. It's getting ready to become a hurricane anytime now. It's currently a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm with a minimum pressure, I believe, of 994 millibars. I could be wrong on that. However, that's the last I've seen, and I'm pretty sure that is what it is right now. So it's expected to be either a 75 or an 80-mile-an-hour hurricane. 80-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Those are constant winds. Those aren't gusts. We can get gusts higher, potentially even up to 90 miles per hour. Honestly, maybe even higher than that. Talking maybe 95, maybe 100, but I doubt it. We're probably going to get 15 to 20 more miles per hour just in gusts alone, which is pushing Cat 2 gusts. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. This has been fluctuating before. I've seen it go all over the place. I've seen it go from 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm to a hurricane to a tropical storm, to an 80-mile-an-hour hurricane, which is actually current, what they're saying right now. So that is an increase in trend. But don't be surprised if it backs down and shoots back up again as, more uncertainty starts to become more certain as we do get closer. We got more agreements and stuff like that, and which we're already seeing in models. We're already seeing a heavy bit of large amounts of agreement as this does get closer to the shore, and which we'll actually go over that here in a minute. So that's what we're dealing with. Like I said, red here, we have our hurricane warnings, blue tropical storm warnings, this pink area, hurricane watches. There is no tropical storm watches because the last tropical storm watch was on eastern New Jersey, but that was just upgraded to a tropical storm watch for eastern New Jersey. So that's what they're saying here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some models here. We'll go ahead and go over to Tropical Tidbits, a very good website. This is what we saw the Hurricane Grace on a few minutes ago. That was actually on infrared. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at Grace here. Actually, not Grace. We're going to Henri. Henri is the subject we're talking about. Here you go. You can actually see the track we were just looking at. They also have that posted. Here is the latest update. So we're actually going to go to 18Z. This was yesterday. 18Z. So you can actually see, this storm, it's starting to shoot, the mid-range, where you got this high density of models intersecting here in eastern Long Island. Then you got a handful of models that are, shooting into, eastern New Jersey. And then you got some that are just going towards, like Massachusetts and stuff. But the main chunk of these models, as of this run, 18Z, was shooting around like this and then going through the middle. That was that last run. Now I'm going to keep this on the screen and watch what I'm about to do. So we have that. That was our 18Z run. We're going to go ahead and go to Henri again. And this time, let's take a look at here. Let's go ahead and go back. There we go. Henri. We'll go ahead and look at 06Z. So you can see there's a little bit more, disagreement with this, as this storm was expected to be more shooting towards Long Island here. So you can still see that some actually show this storm shooting off to the northeast, which I don't think that's a probable outcome anymore at this point, as all these models are saying, hey, this is going to hit the northeast. So that's what we're dealing with here. The main group of models still continue to show it around here, hitting eastern Long Island. That's what we're looking, and then taking off to the east-northeast eventually. So that's 06Z. Let's go ahead and change it back to Henri here. 12Z, we can see this area here, showing, I don't think this is lining up the more I think about it. Anyways, but, the middle part is actually showing it going through, like more towards Massachusetts. But this was 12Z yesterday. This is not our latest one. We'll go over that here in a second. But, you can see that the Northeast is becoming more and more of a probable outcome. At this point, you can probably say, or you can say, this storm will likely impact the Northeast, or it's definitely expected to. Just based off these models alone, they're all saying, hey, this is just going to come over here towards Long Island, in which we are seeing currently. So let's go ahead and go back to Henri. We'll actually take a look at the current one, which is 060. That's the one we just saw. So 06Z, why does this thing mess up? 060, which we just saw. Some of them, there's one model out of all these models, this handful of models. This one right here shows it going to the northeast. However, I don't think that's a probable outcome. I think it's going to impact, central and eastern Long Island the worst. That's actually been a trend for a while now, and it's continuing to show up as we do get closer and closer to this, landfall. Now, we do plan on going live whenever this does impact. This will be on Sunday. So make sure to tune in to our live stream, as we will cover this from the time it goes onshore, makes landfall, and then goes into the interior northeast. So we'll go ahead and cover all that for you guys. We'll have live. We'll answer questions if you have them, and all that. So we'll probably start to go live whenever the hurricane is about right here. That's about when we're thinking about going live. Right as it's approaching the northeast. So that's what we're dealing with there. This is intensity. Actually, this is I don't know why it does that. Here we go. So we can actually see that this is intensity, showing it's going to go up. It's just going to be mostly minimal category 1 strength according to these models. However, there is a slight chance that this thing could come into a category 2 while it's at sea. This is not when it makes landfall. Don't get me wrong. When it's at landfall, we're likely going to see a very high-end tropical storm or a low-end category 1 hurricane, in which currently forecasted is a category 1 hurricane. So just keep an eye out for that. So we go ahead and see, the average of these models shows it does something like this, and then do that. So that's your average. This is your line of best fit. This is, what is expected. So it's expected to, let's say, in that lower category 1 strength. This is according to your hurricane models. However, this is actually forecasted as of now to get up to a 85 mile per hour category 1 when it's at sea. This is not when it hits land. So that's what we're dealing with here. Here's some more of your GFS ensembles. This is just one model with many different runs, many different members, and they just they're throwing a similar outcome too. All of them are showing the northeast, which that's honestly very consistent too. That's really showing that things are going to happen. Things are definitely going to go down. So anyone here in this area, I'm actually circling right now. You need to be watching the weather over the next few days, because things are going to unfold, and it's not going to be pretty. Everyone just needs to be aware from this. I can't stress it enough. Everyone needs to prepare for this now. This is going to be a bad storm. This is going to be a history maker. This is one of the storms that everyone's going to remember whenever it comes to the time. Hey, do you remember this storm? Oh, yeah. The big storm of 2021. This is the storm we're going to remember. You need to get ready. You need to be prepared for this storm, because people might lose their lives because of this. It's a lot of crazy things could happen with this. A lot of damage is likely to occur. People could lose their lives. But if you take precaution for this event, it will save many lives. So hear me out right now. Get prepared for this storm right now, if you're not already. Think about evacuations, because these coastlines they're not used to this type of weather. If you're, think about evacuations, try to get out of there, move more inland if possible, or if you want to ride it out, which it's up to you. Just be prepared. That's all I ask. Make sure you have, food and water. I recommend getting a NOAA weather radio, because they'll go and tell you the latest information regarding Henri. So make sure you have a NOAA weather radio. Have yourself flashlights, batteries to go for your flashlights, radio. I don't even know if I said that already. Make sure you have food and water, and stuff like that. Just make sure you're ready. Have a survival kit. Have a first aid kit too. That's very important. Have a first aid kit. Make sure you have your shoes too with you. Just have all this stuff in a pile in your shelter. The best place to be during a hurricane is in the upper levels, especially if you're on the coastline, because, flooding is a big thing with these storms. You want to be in high ground. You want to be way up there. So that's what we expect. If you, this is not a, this is, I don't know. This is just a pretty intense storm. I can't stress it enough. People usually don't realize how bad these things can get. Take my word for it. Even if it's not as bad as we are saying it's going to be, it's better to be prepared than underprepared. And right now, from what I'm seeing with these models, and what I'm seeing with current observations and everything, this could be bad. This could be really bad for the Northeast. So, everyone, just make sure you're ready for it. If you have any, family or friends that live in Long Island, the Rhode Island coast, anywhere where I basically went over just now, and those hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings, just give them a heads up. Make sure they know what's going on, and we'll go from there. Make sure they're prepared for this event. So that's what we're dealing with currently for Henri. Here's actually current satellite imagery. You can see a lot of convection going on here. This will probably take a minute to load, which we'll wait for a minute. So, yeah, Henri is actually strengthening, is currently a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm with sustained winds of 70 mile per hour, and has higher gusts. As you can actually see here, this is our latest imagery regarding. You can actually see it shooting more north at this point. It was going west. Now it's shooting up north, as we can see in this footage here. So she's already making her way up towards you guys. Just make sure you're prepared for this storm, as this could be a heck of a ride. So just make sure you're ready. That's all I ask for. Everyone, make sure you're safe. Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut it out here. It's getting late. I need to upload this and get some more updates out, and then I need to go to bed so I can get prepared for this event. So everyone, stay safe, please. Stay safe. Make sure you're ready for it. Make sure you have everything you need together, and have a plan. That's all you need. Make sure you have a plan. Okay, so another video will be out tomorrow. I'm going to be making videos before this thing makes landfall. That's probably the last update we're going to do on Grace. I don't know. I might, show it up in next update. It'll probably be later today. So we'll get we'll probably see that. At that time, it will likely be a tropical storm or a tropical depression. So we'll just have to see. We'll definitely monitor Henri as we continue to go on. I'll do probably a couple more videos before it makes landfall, and then I'll stream the landfall. So, okay, that's all I had to say tonight. Make sure you're ready for this event. Can't stress it enough. This is the one. We're gonna hear this one for some time now. How you kind of hear, oh, you remember Hurricane Sandy back then? Yeah, that was a bad storm. Yeah, we're probably gonna hear the same for this one too. So, just a heads up. Don't panic though. Panicking only makes the situation worse. Just be smart. Have everything together and be ready to go. All right, so I am the lead forecaster, Andrew Heischman. I am heading out for the night. Everyone stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.